What's up, everyone? This is El Destroyer 229, and welcome back to Let's Play Persona 5. Last time, we continued to develop our bonds and confidants as the days, once again, were ticking down to our deadline. We still have a lot of time left, but maybe to prepare ourselves, we should maybe try to, well, get a little bit stronger. In this episode, we are going to do just that, and we are going to head on into Mementos. But not before we take a quick pit stop to Untouchable. I don't really intend on buying anything here at the moment. Simply because we can get a lot of good stuff while we are in Mementos. But I'm still just gonna check in to see what new things are available.
That's good.
So for us, we can now get the machete and the paring dagger.
You look serious today.
Ooh, machete's even more accurate. That's gonna be interesting. For Ryuji, we have the big sleep stick and the Gaia pressure. So, interesting. And another weapon that can put people to sleep. For Morgana, we have the heavy saber and the Damascus sword. Pretty interesting. For On, we have the Great Whip Sword and the Strike Tail. Again, pretty powerful, mostly keeping with the accuracy from her Whip Sword. The Great Whip Sword is just a better version of it. Yusuke has Orochito and Iai Katana. That is a huge jump into power. For Makoto, she has the Demon Fist and the Mach Punch, which would be nice to increase her accuracy. Well, it is her accuracy. Increase her accuracy a little bit with that. Or her evasion, which also somehow lowers her accuracy. Haru has access to the Crescent Axe and the Mega Axe. And then finally, Akechi. So for him, we can get either the Kesar Saber or the Lumina Saber, which is what he already has. Yeah, don't quite get why some of these are, repeats of their default that you could potentially buy.
If you change your mind.
It just seems weird. But anyway, those are all the different melee weapons that we can get.
All right.
In terms of guns,
Which one?
we have From Heaven and the Sleeper. Ryuji has Fury and Orso Narrow.
Take your time.
Morgana has the Star Slayer and Intercept. On has the Western Submachine Gun, and that's it. Yusuke has 3 new weapons, the ARX, the Tempest, and the Annihilator. Makoto has Baptism and Evil Roulette. Every squeeze is a surprise! Yay! Why is that somehow fitting? Haru has the Town Burner and the Multiple Grenade Launcher. And then finally, Akechi, who has Sirius and Mobius. And again, Mobius is just what he has by default. I'm not sure if there's really a whole lot for me to get. I mean, I can always try to increase my accuracy. I am equipping just a better version of what I already... do I have? Yeah, I just have a better version of Government's HP, to be honest. So I may want to invest in a new gun, especially since you don't usually find guns. You kind of just have to make them or buy them. So there is that. And again, I prioritize just having high accuracy. As long as anything has over 90 accuracy, which, that would be the ARX, so maybe. I may want to consider getting some of my party members some extra guns. Not necessarily Akechi, to be quite honest. But for the rest of us, you're wondering, it's like, well, why? Because we barely used him, that's why. Plus, it's not necessarily a bad idea to just buy some extra guns, and then, well, before doing it, save, and then seeing whether or not EY will be able to modify them, and seeing what kind of modifications you can get. Honestly, like, I don't mind just giving Yusuke some more accuracy. Any one of my party members could use something that's a bit more accurate. But that would just pretty much be me, Yusuke, and Makoto, if I'm being completely honest. Well, before we do that, let's take a look at the different armor. I don't think there's any new... Oh, there are new accessories. The resist ring and the spirit belts. So... a little bit reduction in physical damage and a little bit reduction in magic damage. Then we have armor.
Alright, which one?
So for armor, for male only, we have the brave waistcoat and the fluted guard.
You look serious today.
For gender neutral, we have the egoist shirt and the guile vest. Morgana has the Morse collar and the measure collar. Ooh, I may want to get that one, especially since the ID collar is quite a bit lower, and it's hard to find good armor for Morgana. And for the ladies, we have the Yama dress and the Rune dress. So I'm definitely going to want something for Morgana, because you pretty much have to buy more like armor for him. It's a little bit trickier to get anything for him. So let's go with the measure collar. It gives him a lot more accuracy. A lot more accuracy, plus gives him +5 to luck. So he should be able to crit a bit more often.
That one. Do you like it?
So we'll go with that, and then sell the measure collar, or the ID collar. And now to look at some guns.
Okay.
Alright, so I think I know what guns that I want to buy. So, for me, I'm going to get the Corolla, because it's a little bit cheaper than the Crimson gun, but I think I might be able to do something to make it even better.
Do you like it?
So we'll go ahead and equip that, and I don't need governance anymore, so I'll sell that. For Yusuke, I am going to get the ARX because it is more accurate, and that would always be good for him, especially since he fires a
That's
lot.
what you're choosing? You better not use it to pull a prank.
And then I can just sell the Black Assault Rifle. And then finally for Makoto, I'm gonna be a little bit ballsy and get the Evil Roulette, because that sounds fun. And even though it's a little bit pricey, a random status element might just help us.
How's that?
And then sell the Peacemaker. I did check a few different things, including Justness and Wildborn. I think I also checked Baptism as well, but all of Makoto's like upgrades all lowered accuracy. I even checked some of Haru's, and she doesn't have access to any sort of upgrades, which we'll probably get access to once we get further into EY's Confidant. But speaking of which, I do want to customize a few of my guns. For one, there's Karura. So this will increase its power quite a bit, even beyond the other gun that we saw. And it doesn't even lower the accuracy or the amount of bullets I can hold.
That's what you're choosing?
So we're gonna go ahead and do it.
Sure thing.
Plus discount, so half off. I'm also going to upgrade, I believe it was On's? I think so. Because On's gives her just more power behind her shots, and I don't think she'll get any, well, The problem is that it does increase her attack, but it doesn't change her accuracy. So I was kind of going with yes, but I'm then kind of second-guessing myself. Just because, again, guns are mostly used to knock down enemies, so, I think not. So yeah, there's not really a whole lot. I think the only one that would really get a whole, like, any benefit at all would be Akechi's, since it boosts accuracy a lot, and also increases his attack power by a little bit. But mostly accuracy, which is not something you really see a lot with EY's customizations. Mostly they're things like this, where it just lowers it. But I think I am good. I do have a couple pieces of treasure that we got from that palace. I can sell the trooper.
You should be grateful.
I don't think there's really a whole
You must be
lot
scheming to
for
do
me. I can
something.
probably get rid of the spiked bras as
Guess that's
well.
fine.
I'll keep hold of those, and I think we're good. I believe we are good for the time being. I did just want to get all the guns and hold off on the melee weapons and especially the armor. I will come back here when we are about to head on into the palace proper, but since we are heading on into Mementos, I want to make sure that we don't get anything that's just as good, if not better, while we're there.
Okay.
So let's go.
It appears as though everyone is here.
Alright, so no real reason to hold a meeting because we really haven't done anything more since the last meeting. But today, we're heading off into Mementos.
Hey,
Let's go.
Now, let us depart.
Oh. Okay, so yes, even though we're not exactly doing so well in our popularity polls, we are more famous than ever, so maybe that's why Mementos is expanding as much as it is. Anyway, before we actually head on into Mementos proper,
do you need something?
it would do us some good to head on into the Velvet Room first. After all, we are full up on personas, so it would be a good idea just to free up a little bit of space.
I'll go.
So let's do that real quick. Well, I did get this for the explicit purpose of turning this into an item. Not the greatest, but does grant all stats +1 and gives 30 additional SP to whoever wears it.
So, this is what it will become.
So, it is still pretty good even compared to some of the other treasure demons. At least because I use spells quite frequently. So we're gonna go ahead and transform Queen's Necklace into an item.
Into a new form.
Maybe they should have a seizure warning for that one. Well, we really haven't made too many Justice Personas, so this will help fill out the compendium a bit. So, we are fusing away Neko Shogun and Take Minakata in order to fuse Power.
Select the skills you'd like to inherit.
Alright, this one's pretty simple. I definitely want Sile, because I don't have too many good personas that have Psychokinesis. Defense Master, Resist Wind, and Fortified Moxie.
It will receive significant power.
Reason why I'm passing down Resist Wind is because resistance skills are pretty good, and I also need to put more personas back into solitary confinement, because I really haven't been doing that, and I keep forgetting that's a thing.
Then let us begin.
So yeah, again, not the greatest of skills specifically for power, but it should still work to my advantage. Learn Swift Strike, Makolga, and Diorama. Well, under normal circumstances, Diorama would be nice, but I've got Daisoljal, so I don't really need it. Ooh, next is Masuku Kaja. Again, not the greatest persona in the world, but you gotta free up space somehow. So, we are fusing away Naga and Regent in order to fuse Kumbahanda.
Choose the inherited skills.
This
inmate.
one is super easy. Just gotta pass down all of the single target spells.
It will receive significant
And it's basically like a better Naga.
My.
Okay, so again, not exactly the best persona, but will still do. So he gets Tempest Slash, Dekaja, which might not necessarily be a bad thing, and I don't like Stagnant Air. Rage Boost, also don't really care for Rage, because that can be a bit problematic sometimes. And then finally, Revolution. Can be interesting, but also increases crit chance for enemies, so not entirely sure that's the best thing to do. You know, this may just be the worst set of skills that could potentially be passed down to any persona that I have ever made. But you know we're gonna do it anyway. So we are fusing away Kohinoor and Belphegor in order to fuse Red Rider.
Choose the inherited.
Because
skills,
basically,
inmate.
all I've got is Bufala and a ton of dodge skills. Not even anything like really good. Like resists, they're just dodge. Which I mean, dodge bless is nice because he's weak to light, but I don't know what else to give him, if I'm being completely honest. Let's go with, let's go with I was gonna say maybe bless, but it's like I'm already giving that to him. Let's go with fire.
It will
Why
receive
not?
a great deal. My.
Definitely not exactly a persona that I would want to pass down too many skills from.
Alright.
But at the very least, he gets negative pile, resists confusion, and last stand. So negative pile is actually interesting because it's heavy physical damage and has a medium chance to inflict despair. Rising slash also heavy, but is just good after a baton pass. So both of those are actually pretty nice. And last stand is increased evasion against all non-almighty skills by 30% when we're surrounded. So essentially, this is just the dodge persona. And, you know, I don't exactly like break skills, so we'll get rid of that. And last is rage boost. For some reason, I'm not entirely sure why he has rage boost and not like despair boost. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. I get that it fits thematically, but with a skill set, it doesn't really work. Alright, so that's pretty much all of the persona fusions that I want to do. So this is what my current list of personas are looking like. I've got a little bit extra space in case I want to get there any more, but this is what I currently have on me. In addition, there's one thing that I was kind of just screwing around with off screen that I didn't realize was actually a thing. I mean, I knew you could like head on over here and you can either let your mind wander, which will basically allow you to review any tutorials, but also go to bed. And, you know, going to bed I figure was just another way of just leaving, because you can just go over here to leave. But it doesn't. It actually does something very different.
Please hear me. These are the final words I hear you. If my voice has reached you, I am most likely no more. Even so, I must relay this to you. Please, you must remember. The ruin that approaches you is by your own machinations. A plan to reverse fate, so that you may repel the true druid yet to come. O chosen trickster, overcome your cruel fate and save this world.
We hear a mysterious voice somewhere. Very spooky. But now that we're done with that,
It is
let's head back to the real world. I also realized I did not go to Chihaya in order to get an extra boost in money. This is why you have to write down every little thing, otherwise you are going to forget even the most basic things that you usually should be doing. Anyway, that's besides the point. So who exactly am I going to be giving this new accessory to? Well, it's going to be someone that can actually utilize magic quite a bit, and someone that I'm really going to be using. That would be either Makoto, or that would be either Queen or Noir. I tend to use both of these party members pretty frequently. So I think I'm gonna give it to Noir. The magic +3 is pretty nice, so her magic kind of goes down a little bit, but she gets a lot more SP. Let's see. As for my other mages, Reduce physical high or reduce physical low? You know, maybe instead of that, I'll just give Queen the Druid Amulet. I should also probably give something to Crow as well. Let's go ahead and give him... I don't really have all that much, if I'm being completely honest. I can give him the Captain Badge. Sure, I'll give him a little bit more HP. It doesn't exactly do him a whole lot of good right now. But at the very least, we are good to go to actually begin our exploration. So first things first, we need to head back on over to Kaitul. So off to Area 6! Okay, so we need to go to an area below us. I believe, well, I think they said there were 2, Mementos bosses that are here.
Analyzing the field.
And of course, while we are exploring Mementos, we, of course, need to go over a history lesson. So, as we progress onward, we are going to do things a little bit out of order. Normally, I try to do history lessons in the order that we get, like, introduced to new personas. However, I think this time we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. So, while I would normally be going on and doing Hecate's history lesson, instead, we are going to be doing the history lesson for Akechi's persona, Robin Hood.
Done here. Let's go. Okay, let's move on.
Oh, sweet, Queen leveled up.
Okay.
So, Robin Hood. Robin Hood is the legendary outlaw from English mythology. He's a mystic English figure who started to appear at around the 13th century. Now, what kind of makes going over Robin Hood a little bit tricky is the fact that there is no real central canon to the tales of Robin Hood. Basically, this means that there's not really any concrete stories.
Lighting here is remarkable. Perhaps with the right shading.
Should I save a picture then? I'll print it out later.
It does kind of make things a little bit trickier to go over, since without a concrete canon, it's really hard to go over any sort of story.
Analyzing the field.
So, it's kind of similar to the King Arthur mythos in the fact that there's not really any one given tale. What makes Robin Hood a bit more of a problem compared to, say, King Arthur is the fact that King Arthur has, like, identifiable tales, like the Sword in the Stone, or getting Excalibur, or
Been spotted. Beat him.
ambush! No. Leave me alone! Jeez, this guy follows you so far! So that was irritating. So, like I was saying, unlike King Arthur, which has stories like The Sword in the Stone, the betrayal of Lancelot, the betrayal of Mordred, the quest for the Holy Grail, there's a lot of just recognizable stories that are just part of the larger King Arthur mythos. Damn it! Well, that was
The
annoying.
opposition is gone. Let's
Anyway, I didn't actually see if there were any sort of treasures on this floor, and there weren't, so that was a complete waste of time. However, even though there's not really any sort of concrete stories dealing with Robin Hood, the characters more or less remain the same, though with some differences in how they're portrayed given any given author. So, for example, we have our titular character, Robin Hood. Now, in many different interpretations, Robin Hood has always had a particular set of qualities associated with him. For example, he is always portrayed as a skilled archer and swordsman. He's always clad in green attire, and he is most well known for stealing from the rich and giving it to the poor. Those are kind of just like the titular quality, or like the most recognizable qualities of any given Robin Hood. However, there are some things that change depending on the author. For example, his position at birth. Some say that he was a nobleman who basically either fell out of favor or he abandoned his birthright, and some interpretations say that he was a commoner.
Voices on the wind. Are those shadows singing?
Is that a bass or a baritone?
I don't think that matters. Other variations depict him as being a soldier who fought in the Crusades. And some stories even tell of his different positions of loyalty, including his loyalty to the absent King Richard, whose throne is often the subject of various antagonists.
Hey! Oh! What a jerk!
Right, now before we get going, I'm going to want to switch out my party members real quick. Specifically, I do not want Noir for this, and I definitely want Mona for this. I think everyone else will be fine? Yeah, I think everyone else will be fine. So let's go.
Yeah.
Please, you're letting others' opinion draw you away from the truth? Whatever happened to journalism?
You're making me look bad.
Please. The role of a journalist is to deliver the truth to the people who read or watch. The point is to try to remove yourself from any sort of bias from it. If you hide the truth as a journalist, then you are failing your obligation and your job. It's time that we allowed Oya to continue her own investigation. And now we face off against Shadow Honjo, Take Minakata. Shadow Honjo is weak to wind, absorbs electricity, and nullifies psychokinesis, nuclear, and darkness. And he knows the skills Megadola, Flash Bomb, and Invigorate 3. Overall, he doesn't really have any sort of electric skills, but he is still weak to wind. So because of that, we can still exploit his weaknesses. Thankfully, he's also just not really all that powerful.
Crow, looking good.
And I really wasn't expecting you to get a crit right there, Crow. But this gives me the perfect opportunity to show me his end card. Yep, that's what he looks like when you finish a foe with an all-out attack.
I didn't have a choice.
Please. Not everyone is as hopeless as you. To Oya, it's not useless. She cares about her journalistic integrity. And sure, it may be a business, a corporation, but they still have a responsibility to get the news out to the people. And that's exactly what Oya is trying to do. Sounds like a broken man. A broken man who lost a lot. Took his frustration out of someone who reminded him of his younger years. Hopefully now Oya can continue her investigation without being burdened by a large quota. Alright, so our first quest taken care of.
This is amazing.
And we still have time. So let's go ahead and get back on track to reach our other quest. Now back to Robin Hood. So because no canon story exists for Robin Hood, it's kind of difficult to really just do a traditional history lesson. So instead of trying to just pick any random story out of the Robin Hood mythos,
You can hear a bunch of voices in the wind. Stop that!
I am instead just going to go and talk about... Ugh. Hey! Okay, thank goodness for a position hack. So, anyway, we are, instead of going over any one random story, we are instead going to be just going over the different characters that make up this larger mythos. And we'll go from there. Again, hard to really go with any concrete story, but this will have to do in order to get some idea as to who exactly is part of the Robin Hood tale. Okay, and from here, we can head on over to our next area, and we'll just jump right to it. Alright, and there's a shadow in the area above us, so we'll start from there. Alright, and Oracle just kind of makes that easy for us. So, the first character that we are going to go over, you know, besides Robin Hood himself, who we've already kind of gone over, is Robin Hood's second in command, Little John. Little John is frequently portrayed as one of the... Ooh. Okay. Position hack for a stone of scone. That is lucky. Anyway, Little John is usually portrayed as one of the earliest, if not one of the, like, the original member of the Merry Men, which is basically Robin Hood's, well, band of thieves. There's another chest up there, and that's where our shadow is. Little John is pretty, like, smart and very much an intellectual, and is kind of like one of the main strategists when it comes to the Merry Men. Aside from that, he's just a good second in command and a good ally for Robin Hood. Next character that is frequently part of the Robin Hood mythos is Maid Miriam. Now, Maid Miriam is Robin Hood's central love interest. She was originally a figure from the...
School. I can just look things up online. Now you can even have tutors teach you through the internet.
Yes, you can. So, Maid Miriam was originally a figure of the May Day celebrations. Kind of like just celebrating the Virgin Mary within the month of May. But she was eventually integrated into the Robin Hood tale around the 16th century. And while her title usually varies, meaning her rank at birth can vary between story to story, she's usually portrayed as being very independent, extremely shrewd, and often is on equal footing with Robin Hood himself, at least in terms of cleverness and wit.
Then... Oh!
Yeah.
Alright, and this one's also not really all that bad. Especially by switching out my party members to someone who's better suited for this. Now let's go.
Huh? How stupid.
The major difference between what you do and what we do is that we don't do this for our own satisfaction. We do this to actually help people. You are making excuses and lining your own pockets. We will steal your heart to see just how wicked you truly are. Now we face off against Shadow Akechi, Legion. Shadow Akechi is weak to electricity and resists wind, and the only skill that I got that he knows is Maega. So, yeah, he probably knows more, but I don't know what he knows. Because he kind of just does stuff like that. Meanwhile, I'll just use a Sile. Not really all too good, but thankfully, I have Queen Mab.
Ooh, Joker, you're looking cool.
And this should deal a good amount of damage. Plus, also the reason why I have Skull.
You sure showed me.
Because he can make this go by very quickly. About another round will probably do it. Groaning. Probably charging up for something, but don't really care to find out. Thankfully.
Ooh, Joker,
I've got that,
you're looking cool.
and I've got this.
There's that boy.
Simple. Just the opposite. All you do is steal from innocent people. Even if the banks are as corrupt as you say, you're still stealing from the average person. You are nothing but a villain. get another skill card. Alright, another quest has been taken care of. Alright, so let's go ahead and keep on going. We have enough time to do one more Mementos quest, and that should give us enough time to finish off this history lesson as well. So, onwards to another well-known character within the tale of Robin Hood.
Okay.
Okay, so there should be... I definitely know there's going to be some enemies below us. I'm not sure if there was one on level 2, though. Well, there's one right here, so that helps.
Starting the search.
Alright, let's maybe try to finish off the history lesson before we actually fight this thing. So anyway, the next character that is usually associated with the mythos of Robin Hood is the Sheriff of Nottingham. The Sheriff of Nottingham is generally considered to be the main antagonist of Robin Hood. It's the sheriff's job to ensure the safety of Nottingham, and he often does this by just trying to hunt down Robin Hood, since he sees Robin Hood as just the primary threat to peace. He's often portrayed, though, as being a tyrant and enforcing unjust taxes on the people. And sometimes, depending on who's telling the story, he often goes after Maid Miriam.
All the girls' thief suits are so kinky.
Are you enjoying this more than me? You're like a drunk old perv.
No, you're not helping your own case, Skull. Anyway, the next person that we are going to be talking about is Guy of Gisborne. Now, Guy is a would-be usurper to the throne of Richard I. And he often uses the Sheriff of Nottingham for his own particular schemes in order to claim the throne and at the same time get rid of Robin Hood.
Echoey.
You know, your eardrums are gonna pop if you make too loud a noise.
Let's get rid of the shadow so we don't have to deal with him. Remember, depending on the interpretation, Robin is a supporter of Richard I, which can be a little bit problematic for poor Guy. Finally, we have... Well, actually, no. We have two more things to go over, and that is Prince John. Or, no. Sorry! I did that completely wrong. What I just described was not Guy of Gisborne, but in fact, Prince John. I got confused because I had to look away and lost my place. Guy of Gisborne is not, in fact, a prince, but instead, Robin's rival.
That internet sure is full of information. That's what makes it fun.
So yeah, Guy is a rival to Robin Hood. And yes, he does often pine for Miriam's love. That part was actually correct, not of Prince John.
This feeling. Joker, proceed with caution.
Crap, 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 crap. I've been delaying too much. Let's get the heck out of here. Whew, okay, I did not think I was spending that much time like that. Okay. Well, that's what happens when the Reaper's about to show up. Yikes. Okay, well, that could have been bad. Anyway, Guy was originally a contract killer someone who was originally sent to assassinate Robin Hood. Yeah. However, even though he was originally portrayed in such a negative light, he was eventually transformed into being more of a rival figure, someone who tries to compete with Robin Hood for any number of things.
Everyone's going to school, huh? Ah, nostalgia.
I'd rather not. And wait, nostalgia? How long has it been since you went to school?
So, yeah, often a rival, sometimes in archery, sometimes in swordplay, sometimes in love. That's kind of Robin's relationship with Guy. And Prince John is what I mentioned before, with aligning himself with the Prince
It's
of
amazing
Nottingham.
that such a large space exists below the city. Secret train stations are a big deal in real life, too.
And also trying to usurp the throne of Richard I. That was Prince John. Just so you all know.
That should do.
Just like I thought.
Hey!
With this power.
I leveled up.
All right.
So the final person, or rather group, I should say, are the Merry Men. Now, okay, so there's one spot that I missed. So the Merry Men are basically a band of thieves that Robin leads. They are essentially his
Start a
posse.
hobby. Expand my perspective. Fishing. Or perhaps gardening.
Yes. Broadening your horizons may help refine your painting.
There's a lot of these sorts of dialogues.
There's a chest.
Ooh, glad I
Joker,
went
look.
back here. More time-worn armor, which is kind of meh. Sneak up on this guy and steal the treasure that he holds. And we're good to go. A lot of Burgundies. Anyway, so like I mentioned, the Merry Men are
These holdups are
Robin's
good
posse.
strategy. Let's keep using them.
Allow me, Joker. I will take note of the information we need.
I don't know why you guys haven't felt me to actually explain that, but whatever.
He shadows out with your persona feels great. Refreshing.
Refreshing? More refreshing than soda?
Blasphemy! Anyway, so the Merry Men compose of many different people, and they often go on various adventures with Robin Hood. Some of these other characters that we don't really have time to get into include Friar Tuck, Will Scarlet, Muke the Miller's son, Alan Adale, and Gilbert Whitehand. There are many, many more people who compose of the Merry Men, but they are just essentially Robin's friends and confidants. And that pretty much does it for our history lesson with Robin Hood. Not really a traditional history lesson, more so with the lack of any sort of concrete story. But that's the best that we can probably do without just doing an arbitrary tale. Right. He may have had the upper hand last time, but this time, we've got him.
Joker.
I do.
you guys again? It's useless no matter how many times you come.
A gamer taught you the moves to take him down, right? Teach that stupid cheater a lesson.
So now it's time to actually do this. So to actually perform the gun down technique, first we need to select our gun command and then hit triangle. So we do that, and rather than fire our gun, we do this.
Amazing, Joker!
That's impossible! There's no way this could happen! A gunshot that surpasses my cheats? That can't be true! Damn it! I'm the strongest! I'm supposed to be king! Me! Me!
Pathetic! And there we go. Probably the quest that we've had for the longest time now is now complete. And level ups for half of our people. Ooh. Ooh. Panther gets Agidine. Hell yes. Burn boost, which is eh.
This is horrible.
Finally, this quest is done. And we get an amazing skill card for Null Physical. That is an amazing skill card. Not sure when I'm gonna use it, but I would love to use it. Anyway, with that taken care of, I say now is probably about as good as time as any to call it a day. So, next time on Let's Play Persona 5. We have made a good amount of progress and have completed about half of the quests that we set out to do. But there is still quite a bit more of Mementos left to explore. We still have 3 quests to do, plus we have any number of different, well, exploration to do. We do have a brand new area to explore, so there's that. So, we'll just keep on exploring and see what all we can do. After all, a little bit of training doesn't hurt to prepare for the palace exploration. So until next time, everyone, take care.